And ever since then, Hulk has always had to sleep with a nightlight on.
Dude, that makes so much more sense now.
I am Groot.
Oh, hey, what's up, Groot?
Hey, man.
I am Groot.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, man. We're all ears.
I am Groot.
She is married.
I am Groot.
Jeez, how depraved are you?
I am Groot.
There would be splinters everywhere, man.
You guys ready? Lobby up.
Hey guys, lobby up.
GG's, lobby up.
Dude, we gotta lobby up.
Lobby up.
Hey, should we lobby up?
Yo, lobby up.
Lobby up, y'all.
Hey, let's grab a beer. Lobby up.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode. You've got Matt and Lewis in the lobby.
What's up, people?
So today we're going to do a quick play, and if you haven't watched our Princess Peach episode, definitely go check that out. But basically, our quick play segment is getting into games relatively quickly as we can, and just trying to sink our teeth into it a little bit faster than we would in some of our other segments. So in this one, Lewis has played a lot of Marvel Rivals, and I actually have not played any of it. I've seen a lot of gameplay footage online, seen a lot of people talking about it. It seems to be pretty darn successful, and I know Lewis has had a lot of fun with it, haven't you?
Dude, I would say keyword on everything you said in terms of Marvel Rivals is fun. I've been having a blast, and typically I'm not much of a hero shooter guy anymore. That's definitely in Murph's department, but I have loved my time playing. The laughs have been just A1, and the scenarios have been even crazier.
It's really refreshing to see a new game in an old genre taking off. And we'll get into a bunch of Overwatch talk soon, but let's talk about Marvel Rivals, the game itself. What are we even doing? Why are we in this? Why is Rocket fighting against Spider-Man? What's going on? Why is this even happening?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. When I first put the game on, and I've been playing with a friend of the channel, Murph, and I just went right into the gameplay. I had no idea what I was doing, and then Murph, who had been playing for like a couple dozen hours before I ever hopped on, I'm like, dude, I'm just playing this game and I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what's the story? And then he paused. He's like, I don't really know. I'm like, of course you don't know why we're doing this. So I actually had to look up the story, and basically the main premise is that Doctor Doom and a variant of his, Doctor Doom 2099, which again, more multiverse stuff. You know how I feel about the multiverse.
Yeah.
Not very good for those who don't know. Basically, in layman's terms, they meet together through their studies of the space-time continuum, and they rip a hole in the fabric of reality, and they start just messing everybody's timelines up in these different variations of the Marvel universe, and the Avengers and all the Fantastic Four and all the heroes you can think of in the game are coming together to beat Doctor Doom to return their timelines to a normal state. But of course, there has to be a reason for the villains. So the villains are like, well, I kind of like this. You know, this is a power vacuum. Let's keep it the way it is. So that is the premise of why you're there. You meet Galactus's daughter, I think.
Okay. She's there also.
And she's the one that's pulling different heroes from different timelines to help fix this Doctor Doom problem. I would say the only cool thing in terms of this story for me is just showing the world how powerful Doctor Doom actually is and how great of a bad guy he's going to be in the new Marvel's movies.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really hoping that Doctor Doom saves the MCU.
Well, you know, I think it's so funny that like time travel and all of that, it's normally such a complicated subject, but now it seems to be the lazy way out of a story.
For real, dude.
Funny how that worked out, and also hilarious that like you had no idea what the story even was, that it's like that much of an option. It just shows you like in today's day and age, in some of these games, the story just truly does not matter.
No, it
and
doesn't.
we just need to be able to play a fun game.
And listen, without knowing a single thing about the story, I've had a blast playing this game. It's quite fun, really.
So there is a lot of characters in this game. I've seen so many heroes in there. And which one are you maining right now?
So it was definitely a struggle finding my main. Initially, just to get in my groove, I started out maining Punisher in the very beginning, just because at the end of the day, he's your typical gun character. You point, you shoot, you reload, the works. as I started progressing more, I started experimenting with other characters. I went with Hawkeye for a little bit and even spent some time with Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of tried to find that character. Naming all of these characters, you would never imagine that I ended up maining my man Groot.
Oh, yeah. Nice. And hence our intro.
Yeah, yes. Had to put Groot in there. I didn't think I would end up with a tank character as my main. It was actually Murph's suggestion. You're going to be hearing a lot of Murph today. He is our resident hero shooter guy. He does Overwatch. He's now in Marvel Rivals. He actually suggested, based on my playstyle, to go Groot, and I did. And let me tell you, him and I have caused just havoc all over our games with those walls, bro.
Yeah, I've seen like some really cool things where I think maybe even you sent me a clip where like a guy created a tunnel with the walls coming out of some sort of exit and just trapping people. I've seen just a lot of really hilarious, funny situations, like Doctor Strange being able to like do like a never-ending portal loop on people, or do a portal to just like exit them off the map. Just a lot of wild stuff.
I'm sure in my repertoire of replays, and if I do have it, the audience will see it now. I fell for the portal trick. As I came right out, I was in a portal, and Murph's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then
I'm just trying to play.
And then Doctor Strange is like, "Ha, you stupid tree."
And we can't forget the little man, myth, legend, Jeff the Shark.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Jeff has been insane. It's funny that the only person that I've played with so far who has played Jeff in any capacity was another friend of the channel, Kitchen, who, let it be known, hates this game. She thinks it's the worst game ever. She chose Jeff. She's like, what do I do with Jeff? Murph's like, just spit on Lewis. That is all you got to do. Spit water on Lewis. Keep him alive.
Oh, so is he a healer?
Yeah, so definitely has to work well with the tank.
So being a live service multiplayer game, where's the battle pass? Where's the cosmetic crap coming into this? Like, elaborate on that.
So I have not put a single dollar in this game yet, because I do believe this is a
keyword.
Yeah, I do believe this is a game. So for those who don't know, as many games as Matt and I play, we do have our game nights where we have our set playlist of games. We say what you want, but we have Fortnite in there. We have Halo, we have Splitgate, we have Sea of Thieves. So this will definitely be on our rotation for future game nights. So I do believe at some point there will be a skin where I'm like, okay, I gotta get that skin.
So like what is the skin? Like, can you just put sunglasses on Jeff the Shark, or like what do you do?
I'll be honest, some of these skins are really elaborate. So right now at the time of recording, the Fantastic Four has just been released, and let me tell you, the internet is going crazy over Sue Storm. She is we'll get to more of that later. And she has this sick cosmetic where like she basically turns into like a hellfire demon looking thing. Where I'm getting at is these skins are elaborate. It's not just a hat, it's not just a pair of sunglasses. We're talking,
it's like something from the comics that would be like Spider-Man changing into the black suit, or something like that. Okay, cool. Nice.
We're talking
that's actually really cool.
Blown, like complete cosmetic changes for these characters.
That's worth spending some money on. Now, like, compare some of these characters to the Overwatch version of it. I know that you said you've played some of Overwatch. Neither of us have played nearly as much as Murph, but for example, like playing Groot the tank, compare that to like an Overwatch version.
So off the top of my head, I can't really think too much of who Groot compares to. I know there's some Mei elements in there for Groot.
So which one sticks out the most? You're like, oh, this feels right, like from Overwatch.
Listen, there are some direct Overwatch did it first. Like, I will never take that from Overwatch. They really popularized the hero shooter genre. So of course, Marvel Rivals had to take plays from their playbook. If you're going to copy a game, because let's be real, that is what they did, you need to do it right, and you need to take the best aspects of that game and put your spin on it, So of course you got Hawkeye, who is a direct comparison to Hanzo with his arrow. Black
okay.
Widow and Widowmaker, which, bro, the audacity of the Blizzard. I don't know who in Blizzard said that, where it's like, oh, look at Marvel Rivals copying Widowmaker with Black Widow. Black Widow came first, people. I mean, like, that was a shoo-in. Like, that makes sense. But I know Widowmaker was in the game verse first, but Black Widow was just a perfect, like, match made in heaven for that character type, the sniper. And then, of course, Psylocke and Genji are very similar. They're both ninjas. So the list goes on. Some other characters have, like I said, Groot. I can't remember who else plays like Groot in Overwatch, but I remember feeling very Mei vibes from Groot compared to Overwatch. I'll be fair to Marvel Rivals. They did mix some of the characters up a little bit, but at the end of the day, if you're going to copy someone's homework, you need to do it right, and they did it right.
Yeah. And see, I think that's the driving point behind this game. We discussed this a bit with Astrobot, because if you're playing through the game, obviously it did very well last year. It won a lot of accolades, but a lot of criticism even was that it copied a lot from Mario. But you and I talked about it. It's like, look, it just because Mario did it for a long time and did it the best for a long time doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to take inspiration from Mario.
No, not at all.
It's something that you should build off of.
Exactly my point. I believe that in order for the gaming world to continue to evolve and give us bangers, you need to take the best aspects of the games that are bangers. Like, if not, you can't copyright a gameplay style. I mean, Pokemon.
Which, to that point that you made, this is why Marvel Rivals is one of the many reasons anyway. It's why it's doing well and Concord failed, and I'm going to get more into that soon. But let's talk a little bit about the gameplay itself. So is this set in the same map every time? Is there multiple maps? Like, where do you go in this?
So there's different gameplays, again, a la Overwatch. There's the payload games where you protect the payload and deliver it to the end of the level. There's domination style games where you go to points and conquer the points. Like, there's a very healthy variety of gameplay styles. And of course, there is competitive, which I'm going to be real with you. I have not really dabbled too much in the competitive aspect of this game. One of the reasons I actually stopped playing Overwatch to begin with was just how toxic the community got.
Yeah.
And I really tried to do competitive on that. And I'm like, wow, like, I really hate myself. Why am I doing this? I wanted to keep Rivals pure. Like, I just wanted to go in, have some fun, drink some drinks with my friends, and just not think about that. So I have not done competitive, and I'll be honest with you, I probably won't unless Murph is gonna like really need a tank that night. But I'm not gonna do it on my own.
Well, speaking of the community, I'm thinking back to when Overwatch 2 came out and the classic 6v6 style of Overwatch, which is present in Marvel Rivals, was switched to 5v5. And I know that Blizzard's intentions were to try to strengthen the core of the game and blah, 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 blah. Basically, they didn't listen to the community. And it was what I got from my research. And a lot of people were really upset about it. So this seems to be that kind of sweet spot. I feel like 7 would be too much, and apparently 5 is just not balanced enough. What do you think?
So I'll be honest, I only ever played Overwatch with 6v6. I didn't get the transition into the 5v5. And by the time I came to Overwatch 2, when I would play with Murph, I didn't even remember what it was like to play with 6v6. But I know that was a huge problem in that community. They were pissed, they were rioting, and to be honest, it looked like Blizzard just kind of didn't care. They threw their hands up and they're like, well, it's kind of working now. And the fact that when Marvel Rivals came out, that's right around the time that they released the 6v6 mode. And it's like, people kind of saw that as Blizzard sweating. Like, oh, now you're bringing back the 6v6. Now you're feeling a little threat and you're feeling the pressure. And even on top of that, dude, already out of the gate, Marvel Rivals seems to be understanding what the Overwatch community has been wanting for years. So like, they got the 6v6 right, Blizzard dropped the ball on that. Another thing that's a big contention for the Overwatch community that many have expressed their frustration with, including Murph, is the fact that you have to queue in for different types. So DPS, the damage players, they are the most popular. Those are the ones that you're waiting long, like minutes. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to non-gamers, but that's minutes that you're trying to get into the next game.
Yeah, if you're sitting down trying to play a game and you're sitting there in the lobby for that long, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so like the DPS players, like they're going to be queuing longer than the people who are playing support or tank. That's not a thing for Rivals, dude. Rivals is like, have at it. You want a full team of tanks? Do it. Full team of supports, DPS. Why you would do that, I don't know, but you
Right.
can if you want to. That's the perfect amount of chaos that a Marvel game should bring to the table.
Well, it's like if you want to experiment with something different, why shouldn't you be able to?
Yeah.
And I think that's a much more community friendly decision.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I mean, and let's go ahead and bring it back to story and lore. Like the Avengers aren't going to be like, "Are you a healer? I need a tank." Like they're just going to go
Yeah.
in there and just
fight.
and fight, and that's how it should
Yeah.
be. We got some overpowered characters in here, like Hela, who is just broken, and no one's screaming nerf because it's the chaos, that's the fun,
Right.
and that also helps that you can only choose one of the heroes at a time. So like you can't have a team full of Hellas. So yeah, you deal with one broken character, but guess what? You have to strategize for that. Everybody focus Hela. That is how
Right.
you should do it, in my opinion. Meanwhile, a lot of the complaints for Overwatch over the years, it's, oh, they nerfed, this person, they nerfed that person. Here, everybody's like viable to some capacity, and those who are just completely overpowered, time to change up the strategy. And it seems the community is resonating with that.
Yeah, and like you said, all big takeaway on this topic is it seems that the developer is listening to the community, and if they continue to do that, I think this game will continue to grow in its success and hopefully continue to expand its player base. And that being said, who do you think that this game is for? Because when I think of hero shooters, I think of at least like teenagers who can kind of like higher level logic and strategize, and definitely adults. There's a lot of old time Marvel fans who probably jumped in this game just because it's a Marvel game. But from what I'm reading and researching, apparently the way that this game is marketed, it's almost like it's directed towards kids. So I don't know what you think about that, but like what's your vibe that you're getting when you're playing this game? Do you think this is something that like you could hand to your kid and they could enjoy or do well even, or do you think this is strictly for bigger kids and adults?
I think this is a big kid game, to be honest with you. I mean, it's very elaborate, and with it being team based, you need somebody that has some sort of capacity to play this game. Because let me tell you, Murph and I have been grouped with people that they have to be children to be this bad. I mean, we were with someone that was 0 and like 10.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad. So I would say the target audience, if I really had to like put a number on it, maybe 12 and up, that would enjoy this game. I think it being a Marvel game, it has a very broad appeal for anybody and everyone who, 1, loves video games, 2, loves comics, and 3, is into hero shooters, which Overwatch, before this crash that they're experiencing, it was a ginormous community. And that actually leads me into something that I told Murph, when we were playing. For years, people were like always wondering, what's the Overwatch killer? Oh, is it Paladins? Is it is it going to be Concord? Like what's it going to be? And I think we're looking at the first true competitor that Overwatch has ever seen, and it is making them sweat. And my philosophy on things, competition is always healthy in this industry.
Absolutely. Yep. It breeds making these developers have accountability, because ultimately these enormous AAA studios, that's what they ultimately wind up lacking a lot of the time. They rest on their laurels and they're like, oh yeah, we're doing good. Oh, you don't like 5v5? Shut up. You're going to play it anyway. Screw you. We don't care what you think. and then another game comes along and it's polished, it's got characters you already know, and a gameplay premise that you already know, and it's playing just as good if not better. So why wouldn't the community swap over? Why wouldn't this bring in new players to the genre in general? So I think it's a really solid point, bro. If you could give any type of big criticism to this game, what's standing out to you? What are the things that you either don't like or you think could at least just improve?
In terms of criticism, I will say I am definitely not the expert in that. If I could tag anybody in right now, it would be Murph.
Yeah.
As the resident hero shooter guy.
But as a casual person getting into it with somebody who's more experienced like Murph, and he's, I'm sure, helping you through with a lot of this.
Boo, I'm helping him.
Well, from your experience of it, like, that's the perspective I want to hear. Like, what do you think?
Jokes aside, I do think, at least, and this is just my issue with the hero shooter as a whole, I feel that sometimes, like, when you get knocked out and you need to get back to where the action is, that is such a hard, like, stop in the action.
Yes.
It makes dying just like a huge chore sometimes, and then I'm
so painful.
I am Groot, so it takes me forever.
He said the thing. He did the thing.
It takes me forever to, like, walk back to where the action is, and emphasis on walk.
Yeah,
that is one of my issues with just the Overwatches, the Paladins, which is, another hero shooter that I've had my time with, and now Rivals. It's like, like they knocked me out. Now I have to walk for like a minute to get back to the action.
Dude, yes, I feel that so hard because one of my only experiences playing Overwatch with Murph, playing like PvP, is walking that far back and be like, hey, I can see the action from here. And then I get sniped.
Yes, dude, it's so frustrating. So, like, if they found a way, let me be honest, actually, before I finish that sentence. The gameplay is nice and fast and crisp when you're there. But like I said, when you're walking, it takes forever. If they could speed up the pace or do something to get me back there. Granted, sometimes you'll have, Doctor Strange in there that will portal you back to the action. Like, if you're certain characters like Punisher, you can use a zip line to get you back faster. But if you're Groot, you are walking, bro. Meanwhile, like, you see Spider-Man and Venom just like
zipping
like right past you, and I'm just like, I am Groot. it's
just boom, 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 boom.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be my criticism. I think that's just a criticism for the type of game versus the actual game. Listen, dude, there's a reason this game is popular. And I would have to agree, because that's really my only criticism for the game. I don't know enough about, like, the hero shooter genre to be like, well, they need to add more damage output to Punisher, and like, it's pretty
balancing
solid.
things and stuff. Yeah,
and I am a firm believer of no nerfs. Buff everybody.
Yeah. Oh, everybody needs to be brought up to that level.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep the gameplay fun for sure. And listen, like I said in the beginning, I have not played this game, but it seems like a lot of fun. I think that there's a reason also why games like this are succeeding and games like Concord failed. And I really thought a lot about that. I'm like, okay, like what are like the main things that like led to Concord's failure? And I'm thinking about how this is already a dominated market, right? This has already got Overwatch, and there are several other hero shooters that are already kind of contending, but Overwatch being kind of like the main brand.
It was the one-all be-all for a long time.
Yeah. So you've already got a high entry point, right? So I think one of the biggest things, dude, is that you had to buy the game, which is just like,
that's
it's like,
wild.
what? Yeah, we've already got this whole environment where the games are free. So that's already like step one to the failure, right? Step two, man, is the characters themselves. Like, look at what you've got with Marvel, okay? Everybody knows at least a handful of these characters. At least at this point, kids could probably point them out quicker than they could at characters from any other genre, other series rather. And the Concord characters were just like, it looks like they were just thrown into a blender and spit out. Like, they took Overwatch characters and they tried to like make them into something just different, and it didn't come out good different. It came out very ugly different.
Dude, you know what word? And it's not even word, what food? There's a food that I associate with the characters from Concord.
Broccoli?
Close. Whoa, that was really close. Mushy peas.
Oh,
Like they're
no.
just like they all of them, every single one except the robot. The robot was pretty cool, but everybody else looks like mushy peas to me. And it was just they're
Yeah.
ugly. And listen, Marvel Rivals took awesome existing characters and made them look even cooler, man. Because
Right.
how many iterations of like Marvel characters have we seen in gaming? Like we had a whole Avengers game a couple years back that
Right.
also didn't do very well. Those characters kind of ugly. All of them were
Yeah.
kind of ugly. These characters took already awesome characters and just like fleshed them out, made them look great, made them look, you know what, dare I say it, made them look sexy. Venom is thick, boys. So like, so
With the cake.
they were not afraid to you know, let's be real, characters in comics across the board, across any timeline, across any decade have always been sexy, and they were not afraid to do it with these characters. And let me tell you, it's paying off in dividends, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you know, the more interested you are in these characters, the more people are going to be interested in your game.
Well, I've generally been uninterested in hero shooters, but I got to tell you, the thing that made me most interested is the fact that they took all of these characters and did like a Smash Bros level of detail to making all of them their own character. They don't play like other characters. They have their own thing. Doctor Strange is very much his own thing. Spider-Man is his own thing. Yeah, he's got Venom, who's kind of similar, but they play different. And you have like all of these different characters with all their abilities being thrown into this universe. That's interesting to me. It's interesting in the sense of like having a simulation of how all these characters would fight against each other, and this being somewhat accurate. Like, that's interesting to me. So being somebody who's not of the genre, who's still a Marvel fan, I do think that this game looks like it's a lot of fun. I would play it. And
you will
I think
play it.
I will. And I think it's going to continue to be successful. But I want to know your final thoughts. You've played a good amount of time in it, played with our friends. Give me your final wrap.
So leading up to this episode, I've really been thinking about what my final thoughts for this game were going to be. I've been putting it through the ringer in my score cheat sheet and really wanted to do it justice and take out some of my own biases for this genre of game. Because let me tell you, prior to Rivals, I felt like the hero genre of games was kind of dull. It never captured my attention. Every time Murph was like, yo, let's get on Overwatch. I did it for him. Like, it was a massive chore to get in there and play this game. And that's coming from someone who's played Paladins, who was an early adopter of Overwatch. It's just not a genre that stuck to me. Rivals made it fun. It made it a spectacle. Everything looks beautiful. Every stage that you're in is dynamic. And even if you're having to walk 10 minutes to the back to the action, there is something to see. The characters themselves have so much personality. I know Overwatch has a whole overarching story amongst its different characters, but I don't know the characters anymore. If you're not following Overwatch lore, you don't know what's going on, but you know dang well that Groot and Rocket Raccoon are friends, and you start hearing them banter. Spider-Man is having banter with Iron Man. They all banter amongst each other, and you're just like, you feel like a little schoolboy, like, oh my god, they just referenced, you know, issue number whatever of this dang comic. It's just fun. At the end of the day, it's fun. I caught myself smiling throughout, and if you're playing with friends, it's even more fun. Hence why I kind of refuse to play competitive. I want to just go in, have a drink, have a good time. I'll probably at most play this game for an hour and then put the control down and be like, that was satisfying. That is another word that I would use for this game. Just satisfying. So at the end of it, if I had to give it a score, I'd give it a solid, very solid 8 out of 10. I would recommend
It's
this.
respectable.
Yeah, I would recommend this game to people who like games. And again, As for Kitchen, who just cannot stand this game, fair enough. She went in, gave it a try, not for her. That's fine. But I think that this is the first hero shooter that is just gathering people from all walks of comic book life, gaming life, hero shooter life, like, and then just putting it all into one awesome package. And it's free. It's free fitty, baby. You go out and you can put $0 in this game like I did. Go out,
no risk.
Yeah, you have no risk and a whole bunch of rewards. So if you haven't played Rivals, I would recommend at the bare minimum, give it one try with a bunch of friends.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Marvel Rivals is just a fun game. And if you're looking for fun, that's what we're all about here at Lobby Up. We love just having fun with our friends. We love having fun, whether it's just playing a solo game, and this is a fun game. So get your friends together, get your favorite drink, play Marvel Rivals. And until next time, thanks for lobbying up with us.
See you guys.